I mean, with the whole virus and everything else, some people kind of see things as limited and not able, and I'm finding it to be more of a focusing on like the goals of the bigger things we're trying to go after. And I know that's I've been keeping up with thoughts of your work, and it seems to me like it's a time of prosperity, and nothing's really changed in a sense.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, especially because most of what I do is internet media work.
Mhm.
So, because everyone is in quarantine, so many more people are around and care about the kind of stuff that I'm doing. So, it's been really awesome, but also very thrilling because of the danger aspect and the uncertainty as
Yeah.
well. Like the whole aesthetic of everyone walking around outside with the masks on and everything is it's it's pretty interesting, and I've always liked dystopian science fiction, and it just feels like we live in a really surreal world. Like today we were driving and we saw a lady with a mask on and some toilet paper under her arm, and how that was like the icon of this time. um, yeah, but magic wise, everything seems to be happening extremely quickly,
hmm
um, even more so than usual when it comes to actual like spell work. Have you been noticing that?
um I would say I'm more doing actions after it versus waiting for something with a spell to happen. Like with now beings I'm working with, I'm now understanding more of not even about the thing I'm sitting there desiring and why I'm wanting to desire it so much, but more of like what angle of myself am I even asking that being for its help in the first place? Is it because my ego, or is it because my actual spiritual ascent? And just like, with the virus, when I'm walking into a place and I put on my mask and everything, it puts into my own like every day that reflection, like I'm doing this because I care about the people who I'm around, whether or not the virus is BS or not. Now, like half the media says it's crazy, and then other sources are like it's not real. So it's like at the end of the day, what's my follow through regardless? And it gives me lots of intro perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, regardless of whether it's the virus or not, the deaths are happening. So
Yeah.
that is certain, and that's very concerning. And it, it's been very, very interesting existing in this period of time because so many things really are becoming abundantly clear when we have cut ourselves off from the normal grind of the matrix and things have changed around a bit. Because, like, for example, just like yourself, in my own magic, like the things that I do for myself, I typically do things that are in regard to my spiritual ascent because a long time ago I did workings with demons to ask for like material things, and I know that those things are coming, and they have been coming, and they continue to grow. So I don't worry about that. That's all like the stuff that I wanted at first. I think most people get into black magic wanting that kind of stuff, to make their life more comfortable. And then once you have that, it's much easier to focus on your spiritual ascent. And especially lately, so many more traditions of magic have fallen into my path. And so now I'm really trying to just take advantage of the fact that I'm lucky that I still have a job and I don't need to worry about that right now. And what else can I do? And also, like, what can I do for people that are going through the same experience in their own unique way? Like, what kind of material can I put out there that
Mhm.
people will gain from, essentially?
Oh, definitely. It's like a double down on what you need to be doing, as well as like now from when I started seeing your videos about 2016, and your progression and growth has been awesome. Like keep that up. Like in like
Thank you.
having your book out, the RS Goetia, like with all that combined notions you've had from your past, and be able to have that out to help out people, your video course, your tarot readings, like I'm gonna double down everyone and say like they are on point, and you get a understanding. It's not just you're told something, whatever. You get a whole understanding with Orlee. She's awesome. Like having those services as well as teaching, because like that's also something too that I just love. It's like it's not about here, everyone, here, I give you some answers and then go about your business. No, if you want to walk down the path of learning, and that's awesome, you know,
Thank
helping
you,
people.
Elle.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
I
just much more
appreciate that.
self-initiating yourself and going full force at things, and definitely this time of quarantine can put people in that pressure to where it's like you have to figure out what you like. Otherwise, what are you gonna do? Sit there and just watch television, watch all the shows you like, and just sit there bored? Like there has to be something behind it. And you know that made me want to bring up another thing about your paintings. Like your paintings from people at the you guys have to check out her channel and learn more. I just want to ask her about all things of her past, because the materials there, you guys, like she's awesome. She's went through things and she's able to put your memories like you. I would love to hear about how you put your how those traumas you're able to put it into an artwork like paintings and
Yeah.
able to help you out along the way. Yeah, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, it's all about the magic that we use from our emotions and figuring out where to place that. And just before I get into that, I wanted to touch on a little bit like, I appreciate your compliment about my classes on things because I never got into teaching people about magic because I just like thought it would be a cool thing to do. People would just ask me about it. And like, I guess 8 years ago, for example, it was very difficult to find people on the internet or in person that could teach you about black magic. Very, very few people. I remember I would go online and I would look at videos of E.A. Coetting and Poke Runyon, and that was pretty much it. Like, there wasn't as many people that are creators now as there were back then. And so I was also part of occult orders where I would meet people. And in those orders, many people are reading about magic, but not many people are actually like practicing spirit evocation, for example. So I would have people over at my house and teach them how to use the Goetia, just like one on one, to show them like this is actually real and it's crazy and it works. And I would just have my friends over and like show everybody how to summon demons, and then more people would ask me about it, and then eventually I started teaching classes on it. The first class that I taught on the Goetia was actually at an anime convention, which was really funny. Yeah, it was really funny. I was a panelist. I was like the guest exorcist on this panel. It was about spirit possession by preternatural intelligences in movies and comics and things like that. And so I talked about how to summon demons and how it was real. And so people were really freaked out by that. And a lot of people left the lecture hall. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Because like they were just like freaked out at the fact that I was telling them that you could actually do this. And it was cool. It was really cool. And then just from there, I started doing it more because more people would ask me, and then put it on YouTube. So, like, I'm really happy that you appreciate it because it just felt like the natural progression of what I was doing. And I think I have a unique perspective because I was finding my own way, combining all the things that I had learned from various esoteric orders or studying or personal initiation through the Typhonian current, and just trying to find other people that have been through this. Like when I finally started being brave enough to put myself out there online, it was so cool, like meeting all these other people like you that are into magic and actually practicing magic, and your musical aspect as well. Like that's always been a huge aspect of my creativity and my artwork, is the music and that vibrational frequency that's necessary in magic too. And so it's been really wonderful going on this adventure and meeting other people as more and more people step forward and share their unique stories. So paintings, let's take a look at the painting I have behind me. I guess we can talk about that. So like
Heck yeah.
This is, I don't know how well my camera is gonna. Okay,
It's
we're on
doing
Skype.
great. It's looking good.
Well, we're on Skype, so I'm gonna keep it in the center of the screen, so hopefully people can see it well. But this is a painting of the Tower card that I did, and this really was like my personal Tower moment when I painted this in my life. And so essentially, like, I put experiences that I'm having in the astral on the canvas. It's not something that is always even pleasant. Like this painting was quite a painful one to go through, but the power that is in this painting since I did that is insane. Like, you can feel the energy. It really gives you this strong burst of energy that like invigorates you, and you're like, yes, I will destroy all the things that do not serve me. I will retain my power, because I wanted to paint myself in it. And back then, I had painted the figure with the red hair was supposed to be me. And so it's like, she is rising triumphantly, even through all the things that the tower entails. She still rises up and she is fine. And so I wanted that to be part of it, because that was a bit different than other towers that I had seen. And I was getting really into painting the tarot because I like that one a lot. I have another one here I can show you. This one is much smaller, but very special. This is my talisman that I made for Belial.
Wow, that was super cool.
So thank you. Yeah, this is a personal one. This one I use in rituals to Belial, and so it's like part of my portal, I guess, to him. And I have a sigil on there, of course.
Oh yeah, that's that. I'm seeing the red, and I'm just taking a little bit of blood, just a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's what that is.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so that's a portal happening there to Belial. But anyone can do paintings that are spiritual. You don't have to be a painter to do it. You can just do it. Like, it doesn't have to look like anything.
Yeah, my sister did them too, and actually, I got it right here.
Oh,
She
cool.
said this one's of my higher self, so it makes sense.
Whoa, that's so cheerful. I love it.
I know. And then
You can't look at that and not smile.
no, I did when I meditate, I make sure it's looking at me, so I'm laughing. And then she also drew me this one for in the Goetia, the first being I ever called was Salos. And yeah, she could see him, and she drew him up for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel his energy from this, and sometimes
Yeah.
I see him blinking sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, it's crazy," and I'm like, "I know it's crazy. I got a friend in here."
That's
But
awesome. Like, especially with the Goetic demons, because people get really focused on the illustrations from the Dictionnaire Infernal for how the demons are perceived, because that was really like the first thing that ever came out that had depictions of all the 72. So it's important for people to create their own images of it, because we only had like one book, and that's where it all came from. And so it's so important, all of us, especially now that like we're in the digital occult era, to be sharing these experiences, because the spirits do look different to every person, and they're going to have same qualities, but I think it's important to do that, because then through our collective research we can gain more understanding of what these entities actually are.
Oh, definitely, and they have their masculine and feminine, and so they can come differently. Even like, I mean, for instance, King Belith came as Queen Belith the first time I met her, and then the second time he came as a king. It's kind of different, just depending on the energies and all that, and just to put one mask on everything. I mean, that's something I've been figuring out. Especially like, so I got the Master Key amulet, which is super awesome, and I just one of my biggest things, because you hear from history. There's like this Egyptian history that talks about giants being good and helping out building things, and then there's this Christian history that talks about them being destructive and everything else. And so when I asked Shimyaza, hey, what's what's the situation? He's like, you humans have good kids and you have bad kids. It's like at the end of the day, it just is. You know, you can't clump everything into one a picture. And you know, that's also something that I think would be great for anyone hesitant to work with the Goetia, you know, especially out the get. I mean, I was always a tiptoe, you know, this way, that way, but eventually had to jump in and, you know, really figure it out all the way. But just to get a different perspective instead of having that fear, because you get like 3 paragraphs from someone that's definitely putting up some blinds inside of the grimoire itself to make people afraid of it. So that's something else that's really cool, you know, to have that
Oh
for.
yeah, absolutely. Like in the Pseudomonarchia Daemonum, where Johann Weyer, like the whole beginning of the book is essentially him telling you to never summon these entities and how it's very dangerous and how they're essentially being presented to us in this book to just see how terrifying and terrible they are, and that certain information has been left out so no one would ever be able to actually summon them with the book. And that's one of the books that predates the Goetia that we have now. So with the same entities, and so yeah, it's like it's kind of funny, but also very heavily indoctrinated by religion. And then with the giants too, it's pretty cool because like, and I've never been there, but my dad is from an island called Malta,
Mhm.
and it's in the Mediterranean near Assyria, and they have temples there. It's one of the oldest places in the world. And there's temples there to giants, like these ancient giant and goddess temples that they have in ruins there. And so I'd love to go there sometime. But so clearly, like whatever they were being worshipped in some
Yeah.
places.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, it adds another layer to like what's really going on. I mean, when you see these drawings around the world, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that drew me just right in. I was like, there's these powers and there's these other things, and they're being hidden from us, and some history is being forgotten. And why am I in these church events and I'm asking these questions, and people are questioning, like, oh, exorcisms are real. Wait, I'm at the Catholic Church right now. Wait, don't talk about the Giants or any of these other things, or let's not talk about omens. Like, I find omens to be one of the first things that occur when you start waking up. And lots of people, you know, it's kind of becomes crazy because either there's some very synchronistic events that are really showing, you know, I don't know, things like seeing outside the matrix, like whether it's that car radio and you're thinking something in your head, like, what am I supposed to
Mm-hmm.
do? And then that it gives you the answer, or your friend calls you and it's just like, hey, check out this information I just found out. And it's like we're being guided. And it kind of makes one of the things you mentioned in one of your other videos, how time is not linear. It's just all, you know, like the past and the future, it's almost like it's already happened and we're just kind of living, you know. And to see outside of that, I mean, that takes another perspective. I mean, I wish I wasn't so human all the time, but you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's some of those things are very difficult for us to understand because we don't have like the terminology, I guess, to understand it in
Hmm.
our understanding of the nature of things. But the more that you get into practicing magic, the easier it is to exist outside of linear time. In particular, if you work with the Aeon of Mott that Sora Nima and Kenneth Grant wrote about. Um,
I have to look into that.
it's awesome
Definitely.
stuff. It's really awesome. The idea is, I touched a little bit on this in my video with my friend Barbie on the EA Wedding channel, but the idea is that we're in this current period of time, and then the period of time that's in the future. So, like this current Aeon, Crowley called the Aeon of Horus that he initiated when he channeled the Book of the Law in 1904. And then the future Aeon is the Aeon of Mott, where they have mastered time travel. Essentially, that's the idea. And this is like a super long period of time from now, probably like thousands of years or something, or hundreds of years. I don't know how far
Hmm.
away it is, but it's different than this age. This age right now is all about us learning how to use magic to become gods, to have control over our realities, and to use magic as a science to change our reality. The previous Aeon is where we were being controlled by religion. We didn't have these abilities, and we were afraid to take our personal power. So then the next progression of after this, because we currently are in this one, we're able to use magic and we can use it to change our reality. So then the next big phase of evolution, I guess we could call it, is where they have time travel. And so because it's connected to us by it being the next, they could more easily travel here. And that's like the idea behind it.
Oh, so it kind of, because they're so close that they would be able to understand us, so it wouldn't be too much of a quantum leap for
Yeah,
another
exactly.
being.
And they can interact with us because they're closer to us in time. I guess this also would mean that it would be easier to interact with people not as far in the past or future because they're closer in time, according
Oh,
to that logic. Um,
wait,
but
that's
yeah,
crazy. That's super
yeah,
cool. I mean,
it is
it
crazy.
does it does
Yeah,
feel like the, I mean, the age of Aquarius. I mean, yeah, that's the unveiling, and I now feel more at peace within, feeling to my calling, because one of the things is like we have to find out what we're here for, otherwise you're just gonna be here, and then what was the point? Whereas I'm seeing this unveiling in all these years, just like for you, throughout helping out all these temples and all the work and stuff you put in the past, to be able to build you to be exactly what you need to be right now in this time, to help with the unveiling, and like being a part of that 10%, kind of like that the monkey paw thing, where it's like we have to get everyone we can to the top so we can push it to the next level,
exactly.
and how we're walking into the golden age. And I always actually, it's funny, I read this book, To Think and Grow Rich, and it was, I don't know, like 8 years ago, but my thing was I need $125,000 to stop the evil one, which is hilarious. But it was because I didn't know where to channel it. Where now it's like with the music, I'll be able to bring to life and tell people what's going on. I'm not. I'm a neutral character inside this whole game. I'm just here to help bring the truth. Someone says you're good, you're bad. I don't care what the whatever it is. If you're bringing truth and reality to the table by telling them spirits exist, magic exists. You have to be careful on the energy within here, so you're not manifesting and projecting all these things because of the programming, whether it was from the media or the religion or our family, whatever it is, and like really get a grip, because we're just at that time. And so, I mean, I see these like this COVID. In one sense, we could see it as, oh no, or it's more of an introspective, see what we're trying to go after. And it's kind of like a halt for all humanity to be like, hey, maybe we should really think about what we're chasing after during this time, and finding that sense of purpose. And for like meditation, is there anything you do that you do every day to help you be in the right zone? Because I mean, I feel like half the battle with magic is keeping ourself and temple down, like
Yeah,
calm.
absolutely. So every single day when I wake up, I come here into my office, which is also my temple space, and I open up all of the blinds and let the light in. And I take a moment to just chill and resonate with all of my spirits here and basically like fill myself with positive energy and some good vibes, allowing that sun to come in because I'm so lucky. My window actually faces east, like
Oh,
all the windows in here. So it's really wonderful. So like when you open those blinds, like all this light just like shines in and fills the room. And then, our cats all come in and I just like fill my space with positive vibes essentially, to set the day off. And then they stay in here because like I'm greeting my spirits, I'm giving them my appreciation. If there's certain offerings I need to give in the morning, like I'll get that done. And then but that's really important to me, like every day kind of starting it off with feeling like how I want to feel,
mhm.
and letting that fill the room that I'm going to be in the whole day.
I know JD mentioned you guys had a temple, a little altar for Belial that you have in the house too, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's in our
Okay.
kitchen. It's actually in our kitchen on the counter next to the stove.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now, I heard when I was on one of your live streams, and you guys were talking about like your favorite path working so far, and I know you've been an author in at least four of them. I'm pretty sure the Abaddon one, the Lucifer one, the Beelzebub one, and I had them written
I
down.
was
But
in the Azazel one, the Abaddon one, um, Beelzebub, and the Baal one, and then maybe another one too, and it's just slipping my mind. But it's been crazy.
oh yeah,
And I'm working on the Asmodeus one now.
how is that going right now? Pretty
It's
awesome.
it's been very, very vivid when it comes to the magic. I don't want to spoil
Yeah,
anything, but
yeah.
like a lot of stuff has been happening. Like it's been very active.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The currents and the flow. I know I'm excited
Yeah.
to look at the Baal one. From being a warrior to a king. That's the way I see it. I'm like, that's what that's gonna be all about. So
Hmm.
I'll be looking into that. And I did get the which one? The Black Magic course and the I'm reading the book right now, and I can't believe I can't think of what it's called. It's one of EA's books. Gosh, that's pretty terrible. Oh well, it's not going to be edited out. I messed
Oh, they're
up.
all good anyway. So
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah.
Tell me about it. That's awesome. I just have a couple more quick questions, and
Yeah,
again,
absolutely.
thank you.
No problem.
Now is there a reason why your favorite gatekeeper is Belial, or is it just because he's the man who breaks you out of the cage?
I think, well, like that, but also it was the first. I think it's like I'm just like I'm sentimental. I think that's what it is. I'm very sentimental. I have an Aquarius moon, and it was the first one that I started working with. And when I started working with Belial, that is what happened to me. My life was broken out of a cage. Like, it's amazing how much my life changed ever since that gatekeeper. Now, it was the first one, so obviously, like, yes, it would do that, but I think there's a reason why he was the first one.
Oh, I can see that too. I mean, that's the big guy. That's the big guy. You go to him, and everyone else, you're like, yeah, obviously respectful and everything, but you're like, I already talked to him, so I'm not too worried about everything
Yes. Oh,
else.
and the other book was the Lucifuge book. That was the one I was forgetting.
Lisa Future. Okay, yes.
That was cool. That was a really cool one.
I was going in my. I thought about either the Azazel one or the Lucifuge one, but I'm right now currently. I mean, there's just no when it comes to making a pact or anything for myself. I just feel like I want to be able to go anywhere and not have to like think about that. And that's, I mean, I'll work with anything I feel called to because it's out of that respect and care. And plus, I know they know your spirit and everything else. So I just feel like PAX right now, people just want to jump into that because that is kind of something they're like, even if it's tongue in cheek, hey, how do I make a pack to get this thing? And ha ha ha.
Mhm.
It's like, no, it's a lot deeper than just,
Yes, exactly. Like the reason why I've gone ahead and done it with all these spirits is because like I'm crazy. I have given myself to the forces of darkness to be able to help communicate their will to reality and help cause change in human evolution. I don't have a normal life, and I take on the consequences of that. So that's why I'm doing it. So for other people, I would probably recommend not doing as many pacts, especially so quickly,
yeah.
to really get the most out of it, and then to be able to still retain the like. If you do that, it's going to change your life so much. Like even with just one pact, your whole life could be flipped upside down. So you have to be willing and ready to have the change happen, and being ready to do the work to make it happen in a positive way for yourself too.
Definitely. I mean that work behind it. It's one thing to do a spell and forget it, which if you put all your means, your heart into the evocation, get it out. Which that's one part, but another part is putting in that work, which is huge because you can't expect anyone to. Oh, you'll do the spell for me and everything's gonna be done. I'm not gonna change, and that's something that's now been even bigger. It's like when you make this contact, what's gonna change inside? And like that really starts asking the question because if someone's so obsessive about this desire so much, what's the matter if you're gonna have the desire, but your inside isn't where you wanted it to be, you know? And that's the one thing. It's like you have to not be afraid to jump into the pool, but know when you're running to the pool why you're jumping in, not just to make a splash. Because too much can occur. I mean, even second guessing stuff. I know that for myself. I mean, that's when I talk to people about stuff. I say, yeah, it's awesome, you know, and I'll tell them my experiences, but I also tell them it's hard work too. You know, you can't. I've got most of my lessons learned from not getting what I asked for, but learning a valuable lesson in the asking of what I desired, you know? And
Yes.
I think that's what it all comes down to. It's the ascent. You know, what are you learning in the long run? And now I'm becoming more, you know, it's like you don't have to fear if you see your evocation worked or not, because it's like you know yourself and you know those principles, and then to go with it and then just let it allow it to work versus sitting in your mind for every single day. Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? And that's why I'm like, you have to be grounded and meditate. And there's all these other things, I think equivalent to instead of just it's just spell casting. No, there's other parts. We have to be balanced all the way. And yeah, the master key. I didn't know if you had any experiences that were really
Yeah, the
awesome.
master key. I mean, I have this egg that's filled with water, and it's supposed to be like a picture frame Easter decoration,
Hmm.
and I have the master key with my blood on it inside it instead of it being a picture. And it's like some weird snow globe picture holder thing, and I've
Hmm.
used it for the master key. And so I like to use it as a portal if I really, really want to make sure that I have opened the doorway completely to spirits, especially ones that I've never worked with before. I'm
Hmm.
going to use that master key. It really helps to me personally, especially because, like, for one, J.S. Garrett doesn't even fully know what it means. We're all experimenting with it along with him. And that's why it's so cool to
Yeah.
be part of his mad science. And so in my experiments with it, I've been using it like a portal to the spirit world, to other dimensions. And I think there's something about how I have it kind of encased in water that's affecting it in some kind of way.
Hmm.
But I was meditating on it one time, doing some kind of ritual. I don't remember. It was like a year or 2 years ago, and JD was doing something else as well with it. But when I was looking at it, it was like I fell into it, and then the areas of the sigil, the line work, all folded up around me, and became like a vehicle that was like, I guess, a spaceship. And then I like had this vision of myself flying around like in space, like in the darkness with the stars, like in this ship made out of the sigil, like wrapped around me in some geometrical configuration.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was
That's
awesome.
super awesome. I got it for the sake of, I mean, just like the universal circle. It's just like an empowerment, you know. Instead of me like, all right, I'm gonna sit here and hope. It is nice having another character after you're done saying, all right, everything can depart, and like thank you, to just make sure everything's all taken care of. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's sometimes cool to have a crack going on, you know, randomly in the house, and you're like, why is this happening? Oh, yeah, I didn't tell the spirits to depart. So being more grounded on that, of course, you know, is also helpful. Uh, and there's just one more, and then I appreciate it. Thank you so much again for
You're
coming
welcome.
on and
Thank
all
you
your
so
work.
much. Thank you so much for talking to me today. It's awesome.
Heck yeah! Oh yes, that's when I even just think about just talking to occultists and hearing all their things that they've overcome and gone through. It really is a fire for myself, and I know everyone else that hears and gets fired up because it can be kind of hard on the get go if you don't hear or know anyone who's actually practicing it and hearing their actual methods to the madness, I guess you can say. So thank you again for all your work. Like
You're welcome.
you're helping the veil, and I'm gonna do my best to keep helping too. Um,
That's great.
just shape
Mhm.
shifting. Um, Now when people talk about that, do they mean that on their aura, like it's around your aura, or what's just your thoughts on shape shifting?
Like cryptids?
Like if someone said that they were gonna, like, for instance, I guess Salus, one of his things is he can help shapeshift you into a dragon or a unicorn or this or that. Is that more of an astral thing, or what is that?
Well, if you check out the teachings of Don Juan, a Yaqui Way of Knowledge by Carlos Castaneda, they talk about shapeshifting like this. And essentially, the Toltec sorcerers were able to shapeshift into different animals. And he teaches him that he actually can turn into a crow and fly. And so it would be you would be literally shapeshifting into something. And then potentially it could even be like you shift out of the dimension that you're in into an alternate dimension where you are able to then travel freely while your physical body is safe somewhere. Or it could even be like an actual thing. But this is, I mean, it's such a rare thing for people to actually accomplish something like that. But
Yeah.
Carlos witnessed it in the books. So definitely check that out. It's really, really cool.
Oh, I'm definitely check that out. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you can see, I feel like it's like an aura energy that can go around you. So like they might be able to pick up on something for a moment. Like if someone was possessed by something, which is most likely going to be a nag, which most people need to understand. It's not a demon. They're not going to waste their time.
Right,
But
exactly.
just like having that overlay of whatever, or if you allow yourself, I know
Mm-hmm.
EA was talking about that with the Belial and all that situation. Like that's crazy. It's just another overlaying of showing us that the truth is right there and here, whatever the
Yeah.
case is.
Like, so for example, with that, so and the shape shifting, just as another example of ways that it can transpire, when I do goetic evocations, I often just do it looking in a regular mirror with the triangle evocation on the mirror, and I'm looking at my reflection, and my reflection shape shifts into the shape of the demon. So, in my reflection. So, like, am I shape shifting into the demon? Like, maybe my reflection is. And I think that's really curious. And I've been able to help other people experience this as well. So, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I actually got a little black, whatever, the black mirror, and I've never done. I tried one time. I was like, it's not gonna work, but that was years ago, and I didn't have any patience for anything. So I should definitely give that a try.
Yes.
That'd be super cool.
It's
Holy
really
so
freaky.
that's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also something funny. I love about you that you gotta. There's this dark, it looks dark, and yet there's this fuzzy, like happy, like positive. You know what I mean? It's on a balance, and that's the way
It's
I try
important.
to walk.
Thank
Definitely.
you. Yeah. Yeah, we really need that because otherwise you're going to be way too Saturnian, way too dark, especially with all the shadow work. Like you have to find a way to let that sunlight in your morning, whatever that like means to you.
Oh no, definitely. I try to walk around with the light, but I also like people know like when they really look at me, just let's just all be good. It's all positive, no
Hmm.
negativity, because I don't want to go Super Saiyan. But actually,
Exactly. Yes.
Super Saiyan, yeah, thank you. Um, actually, one more. When it comes to, I have a few friends that were obviously they're kind of halfway in, halfway out, but they asked a lot about Lilith, and I don't know anything really along the lines other than self empowerment that she helps with. And I didn't know if she was anything with her and Inanna because I've worked with Inanna and I didn't know if they were similar in any regards on that account.
So I have not done work with Inanna, so maybe we can find a middle ground here, and I'll tell you. So Lilith essentially is, first of all, not just for women to work with. Anyone can work with Lilith.
Okay.
Just like with any spirit, respect the spirit, and then you're fine. Um, Lilith is really great for empowerment, but also things like vampirism, sexual powers as well, and beautification. That's what I found are really strong aspects of her, but she's also fiercely protective at the same time. So she does have this warrior aspect of her as well.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see that with Inanna right there, the warrior as well as the love aspect. But I'll tell you, and for myself personally, once you have one of the goddesses in the room with you, you definitely get the feeling like, wow, Holy smokes, you're looking good. This is funny. Um, cool. Well, I just want to let everyone know you should definitely check out Orlee's channel. I'm gonna have it in the comments below, as well as check out her book on Amazon, the R.S. Goetia, or go check out the course itself on bog.co/Goetia, or get a tarot reading, or if you want to just upgrade your magical practice to another level, just look into her works, and she'll take you right there. She's awesome. So thank you so much again, Orly, for coming on, and like keep up all the work and everything. And like I appreciate it. And if I ever need a tarot reading, you know I'm gonna be coming back. That's for sure.
Thank you so much, Elle, and I hope you keep up the great work too.
Thank you. I will
Thank
be.
you.
Cool. Well, I'll be talking to you later. Thanks again for
You
hopping on. I
too.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Take
All
it
right.
easy.
See you,
Bye.
Orly.